Is drinking really a part of army life? Today, we're not going to whisper about it. We're going to answer it clearly, honestly, and with full respect for the uniform. If you've ever heard someone say, "Yaar, army mein peena to ek tradition hai," you've probably wondered, is that actually true? Or is it just a myth that keeps getting passed around? Let's break it down, historically, culturally, and factually. To understand why alcohol became associated with army culture, we have to go back over 200 years to the British Indian Army. British officers carried with them a strong mess culture, formal dinners, regimental toasts, whiskey after a long march. It wasn't just drinking, it was ceremony. It was discipline within celebration. When India gained independence in 1947, the Indian Army inherited not just the rifles and the regiments, but the customs too. The officers' mess, the toasting culture, the formal evenings, all of it continued. So yes, the roots are colonial. But what grew from those roots became something uniquely Indian. Now let's talk about something deeper, why it persisted. Army life is not like a 9-to-5 job. You live with your unit, you train with them, you fight with them, and sometimes you grieve with them. In that kind of environment, the officers' mess and JCO gatherings aren't just social events. They're trust-building spaces where rank takes a back seat and the human being in the uniform comes forward. A peg of whiskey at the end of a hard exercise isn't about the alcohol. It's about sitting together, laughing, processing, recovering, mentally and emotionally. That's the real tradition. Brotherhood, not the bottle. Now, let's talk about Siachen, Ladakh. High-altitude posts where temperatures drop to -40. In such extreme conditions, soldiers have, historically, used small quantities of alcohol for warmth, for relaxation in total isolation, far from family, far from civilization. Is it medically the best solution? Experts will debate that. But in a world where recreation options are near zero and the cold is relentless, it became part of the routine for some. Not a rule, not a requirement, just a reality of remote postings. Every regiment in the Indian Army has its own soul, its own history, its own identity. And on Raising Day, on gallantry award ceremonies, on promotions, there are toasts. A toast to the regiment, a toast to the nation, a toast to the soldiers who didn't come back. These aren't moments of indulgence, they are moments of remembrance and pride. Rituals that connect today's soldier to every warrior who wore that badge before him. That's why this tradition refuses to die, because it carries meaning far beyond the glass. Now, and this is the most important part of this video. Drinking is not compulsory in the Indian Army, period. Thousands of officers and jawans don't drink, and they are respected completely. No pressure, no judgment, no career penalty. The rules are strict. No drinking on duty, ever. No compromise on operational readiness. Zero tolerance for misconduct. And the Army today? It is increasingly focused on fitness, mental health, and responsible living. The culture is evolving, and that's a good thing. So let's answer the question we started with. Is it a tradition? Partly, yes, shaped by history and ceremony. Is it a myth? No, it exists, it's real. Is it a requirement? Absolutely not. The Indian Army is defined by courage, discipline, and sacrifice, not by what's in a glass. If you're an SSB aspirant watching this, know this. Your character, your fitness, your integrity, that's what the Army wants. Everything else is noise. If this video gave you clarity, drop a like, share it with your batch, and subscribe to SSB Crack Exams for more honest, grounded content on Indian defense. Comment below. Tradition or myth? Let's see what you think.